Welcome to our 6 a.m. power flow. Not sure what we'll do today. A bit of balance, maybe a bit of core work as well. Some warriors. We'll see how we go. But housekeeping first of all. So you don't need any equipment. None of my classes online will require equipment, but because we're in our own homes, anything that we'd like to use. So if we've got pillows, if you've got blocks and bolsters, you're welcome to use them. If we've got blankets, towels, anything that we'd like to use for support at any time we can, we'll make our way down to Shavasana. You're welcome to play your own music. So I've mentioned before, I don't put music through these videos because I record them live. The sound quality is not very good going through a microphone. So if you've got your own, either through Apple Music or Spotify or whatever you use, maybe something upbeat, power yoga to get us moving this morning. But we'll start in our Shavasana. Just settling in here into our bodies. Cold mornings, early mornings, out of bed. We're just sinking ourselves into our mat. We're getting rid of any stress that we've woken up with, any tensions. Maybe we sleep funny. We've got sore necks, sore hips, tight hammies. Checking in with ourselves, with whatever we've got going on this morning. Our golden rule for yoga, for my classes, is to have this practice of allowing ourselves to be exactly as we are this morning, however we are on our mats. Whether it's tired, whether it's sore, whether it's cranky. These aren't the things that we're trying to let go of. We're trying to let go of the controller. It's trying to force ourselves to getting into a particular mental state or physical state. We're letting that part go. So that we can just be content as we are right here, right now. So mentally, physically, whatever comes, letting it come. Whatever stays, allowing it to stay. And whatever goes, allowing it to go. We can just take that step back mentally to let go of our interfering and to just notice how we are. We're so busy thinking about how we want to be, we get a little bit less clear on being able to see things as they are. We can bring our awareness into the breath. Even though we've taken a million other breaths before, we're observing these ones as they happen for the first and only time. The unique qualities of each breath. As we maybe draw a little deeper into our inhales, filling up that belly, expanding up through the chest. Nice soft exhales as we release from the chest, down and out the belly. A smooth, gentle, rhythmic breath will help us settle in here. It's amazing how much tension the breath alone can relieve. It's a good anchor in any pose to notice how at ease we are with the breath. It can help us notice if we're over striving, if we're pushing ourselves to hold anything, we'll feel that breath shorten. So at any stage during our practice, if we find the mind wandering, just bring it back into the breath. Use it to help us anchor to the here and now. As we add a little wriggle to fingers and toes. Drawing those knees in towards the chest, squeezing in nice and tight. Taking our rock and roll, loosening up through these hips. And to come back to center, we'll take our butterfly circles, drawing those knees a little closer towards the chest, out and away from the body, down the mat. Bringing them back over the hips towards each other. So we're taking these outward circles. Noticing the size of the circles, whether we can open them up a little. How those inner adductors, the inner thighs feel with that movement. And changing directions. Coming back to center, let's lower the feet to the mat, out nice and wide. Our windscreen wipers, so we're taking both knees over one side, that knee to opposite heel, and through center, back over the other side. Warming up through these hips, down the lower back. Keeping that upper body relaxed to the floor, so that head and shoulders relaxing. And we're just taking those legs to either side. And let's come back to center. We'll draw our right knee in towards the chest. We'll lengthen our left leg nice and long, taking our twist. This right knee coming across the body, we can extend that right arm out. Getting that head to toe twist. So if it's comfortable for the neck, we can gaze out over those right fingertips. We find that mind wandering, another way we can anchor it is just through the sounds going on around us. Noticing from home what sounds we have in the morning. Maybe things are starting to wake up around us, get moving. Either nature, or maybe cars, people moving. Bringing our way back through center, changing sides, drawing that left knee into chest, extending that right leg out. Taking our twist. And back through center. Let's take our reverse tabletop, bringing those knees over the hips, 90 degrees, pointing these fingers up towards the ceiling, tucking that tummy in, gently pressing that lower back into the mat. Let's inhale, right arm, left leg nice and long. Exhale, back to center. So we should have one set of fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling at each time. So we inhale, opposite arm, opposite leg. Keep that core engaged. Exhale, back through center. Just moving in time with our own breath. Take those full inhales, full exhales, guiding the movement. We're working through that core. Keeping steady through the torso. That gaze set on one still point towards the ceiling on top. One more time on each side. And then squeezing into our ball. Let's rock and roll. Making our way up to seated. Using that momentum to come up either cross-legged or however's comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's inhale this left arm up and over. Taking our neck stretches down our right side to start. So we can have that right arm. We can either rest it or extend it out. Just see how that neck's feeling in the mornings. It's one that we're prone to maybe sleeping on funny, or at least that's for me. I don't know if you've ever woken up in the middle of the night because you've slept funny on your neck. It can get quite tight. So just checking in with that this morning. Releasing out this side, turning our gaze. So we're looking past that armpit towards the floor. That chin tucks in a little further. Check in with the torso. If we're slouching, use that in-breath. Sitting up nice and tall. And feeling that lengthening down that back right side of the neck, that upper trap. A lot of the stress that we hold on to is stored up here in these muscles. And releasing out this side. Inhale, right arm up and over. Lengthening out through that left arm if we would like to. And just feeling those shoulders and shoulder blades soften down. We're lifting up through the sides of the body. We're still sitting nice and tall. And releasing, turning that gaze, tucking in that chin. And releasing back to center. Let's draw these hands into the lap. We'll interlace the fingers on our in-breath, keeping our shoulders relaxed. We'll draw the hands up towards the chest as we exhale, pressing them away, rounding through that upper back as we inhale, lifting up nice and tall. And then as we exhale, releasing the hands down behind the hips, we'll interlace these fingers together again. Inhale, open, widening through the collarbones. As we exhale, releasing our hands back to the mat. Interlace the fingers, inhale, lift. Exhale, big push away. Big breath out. Inhale, rise it up. So lifting up through the sides of the body as we exhale, release it down. These hands coming behind the hips. Interlace the fingers, relax the shoulders. Inhale, open. Exhale, hands back to lap. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, big push. Inhale, rise it tall. Exhale, soften down. Inhale, opening. Exhale, softly releasing. This time we'll inhale these hands up nice and tall to rise up. Taking this left hand to our right knee, this right hand coming behind as we inhale, lifting tall. Exhale, opening into our twist a little further. One more breath in here. Exhale, back through center. Inhale, hands right. Exhale, taking that opposite side, placing that hand to knee. Inhale, lifting tall, open through the chest as we exhale. We're just turning that torso, maybe that gaze comes over that back shoulder. One more inhale. Exhale back through center. Let's inhale these hands to rise again. We'll come into the side body. Let's exhale this right hand to mat, reaching those left fingertips across. Inhale, hands rise. Exhale, opposite side. Beautiful. Inhale to lift. Exhale, reach it long, that top side of the body, creating as much length as we can down that side. Keep moving with the breath. Take one more time each side. And inhale back to center. Exhale, releasing those hands down. We'll take our legs out nice and long to the front. I really want to get into my hamstrings this morning, so maybe yours are tight as well. We'll draw those toes back in towards the chest. Inhale, sit up, rise up through the hands. As we exhale, we'll fold forwards. We'll take our flow here. So on our in-breath, coming back to sit tall, lengthening up, stacking through the vertebra, reach up through the fingertips. Exhale, dive it forward. Keep flowing. So inhale. We're just trying to create a little bit extra length through the backs of the legs with each fold. So just notice with each breath as we reach forwards, that extra little bit of length we get. We'll take one more round. And this time, just letting those hands take hold or resting. Noticing how we're feeling down the backs of the legs this morning. This is my problem area when it comes to tightness, especially in the mornings. So we can have these knees bent as much as we'd like as well. And releasing hold, coming to sit tall. We'll get into them a little bit more soon. So just sweeping these feet out to the side, coming into our tabletop. So all fours facing the front of our mat. So pressing those palms down so we can spread those fingers wide. Let's take an inhale as we drop down through the tummy, opening the chest towards the front of the mat. As we exhale, our cat-cow, tucking that chin in towards the chest, round that spine. Inhale, open. Exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Beautiful. Inhale, deep breath in, opening through the front of the body, through the heart. Exhale, creating that length along the back of the spine. One more round. Coming back to our neutral spine. This time we'll bring our big toes together, lowering our hips back to heels. So we'll keep these elbows in close, chest close to the mat as we inhale, crawling forwards or creeping forwards into our cobra. Or we can take our upward facing dog if that lower back's feeling okay. As we exhale, those hips back to heels, starting to warm up a little more through the body. As we inhale, chest opening towards the front through our back bend. Keep those shoulders relaxed. If we're feeling shrugged, press through those arms, lift through the crown of the head. Exhaling, hips to heels. So we're just moving in our own time now. But if we're taking that up dog, especially if we're prone to that shrugging of the shoulders, so imagine that puppet string through the crown of the head as we press strong through the palms. We'll feel that extra opening, that relaxation or that softening through those upper traps. Take that pressure off. Let's take one more round. We'll finish in our back bend. So either that cobra or upward dog. Taking another breath in here. On our exhale, just gently gazing over that left shoulder. Inhaling back through center. Exhale, right side. Beautiful. Inhale back to middle. One more time each side. So exhale over the left. Inhale. Keeping that lift through the crown of the head. Exhale, gazing over. Inhale back to middle. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Tuck those toes under. Coming into our down dog. So every class except for this one, I think is the first time I haven't mentioned it. at the very beginning is the importance of modification. So for me, with my blood pressure, I can't hold these inversions. So I come down to my downward puppy. Whatever the posture this morning, we're listening into our own body, taking our modifications wherever we need them. So we're holding this downward dog, continuing to lift through those sit bones. Open the chest towards the thighs as we take that lift through the sit bones. Being a little taller, a little bit more lift through our inverted V. Notice that head. If there's any tension in the neck, holding it in any way. See if we can just soften that out. Add a little yes or no nod to the head. And then we're going to walk these feet to the front of our mat. Take our ragdoll. So pressing those heels towards the mat as we walk forwards, getting that lengthening down the backs of the legs. As we come into our ragdoll, bend those knees, take those hands to opposite elbows. We're going to add our little sway side to side here. Return to center. Let's release those fingertips to the mat. We're going to inhale a half lift. Exhale, folding forwards. One more time. Inhale, so these palms running up the shins, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold forwards. We're going to come into those hamstrings a little more again, taking our twist. So we're going to bend that right knee slightly. Inhale those left fingertips towards the sky. Exhale, returning that hand to mat or shins, swapping sides. Inhale, right hand to sky. So check in with that upper back. If we're hunching, just rest the hands towards the shins. We can take our twist that way, or we can even rest the forearm on the thighs, but we're just moving at our own pace here. We want to get that lengthening down through the backs of the legs, as well as our opening through the chest as we take our twist, whichever option we've taken here. This is one of my favorites for hammies in the morning, so this dynamic movement, where maybe got that tingling down the backs of the legs. If we're a sitter, like me during the day, spending way too much of our time with our knees either in 90 degrees or less. Let's return back to our forward fold. We'll take our half lift. As we exhale, taking our fold, this time bending through the knees. We'll press through those feet as we rise up. Inhale, lengthening those fingertips up to the sky. As we exhale, Tadasana, releasing those hands beside. So our standing mountain pose. I'll tuck that one in. Spreading our fingers wide. A moment to just check in with our posture. So whether we're maybe a little bit short in our posture, seeing if we can lift up through the crown of the head. As we do, gentle tuck of the chin in. Imagine we're holding that tennis ball in. Check with the shoulders. If they feel shrugged up, maybe take a roll of the shoulders, releasing them down the back of the body. If we're feeling compression in that lower back, imagining we've got that seesaw or that bucket of water. If it's tipping forwards, just tucking that tailbone under a little. Let's inhale, rise the hands tall. As we exhale, diving forwards, open through the heart. As we inhale our half lift, exhale, fold. Bend those knees, press through feet as we inhale, that deep breath all the way tall, lengthening up the sides of the body. We'll open through the heart this time, taking our little back bend. Now exhale, inhale, rise. Exhale, fold it forwards. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse that dive. So we're grounding through the feet as we rise through fingertips. Adding that back bend on our exhale. Inhale, lift it tall. Exhale, dive over. Half lift. Hands to mat, stepping back to our plank. All right, working this core a little bit again. So holding here, our options. We can be on our toes. We can be on our knees. So we're hugging that belly button in. Core is engaged. Check that puppy dog tail that we're tucking it under, our sad puppy dog. So we're feeling into that space between the hips and the ribs. We're closing it in. We're engaging those core muscles. All the while being able to breathe steady. Taking another breath in. Slow and steady, chaturanga. We're lowering down, feeling those elbows against the sides of the body. As we inhale, we're taking our cobra or up dog. As we exhale, making our way back into our downward dog. Pedaling out here, or whatever feels good. Maybe lowering both those knees towards the floor. Maybe our legs are straight, but maybe they're bent. I found downward dog for me in the morning can be tricky with my tight hammies. Let's walk these. No, let's gaze forwards. Option, we can step or hop our feet to the front of our mat this time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend those knees. Inhale, rise it up. Exhale to back bend. Inhale to rise. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Hands to mat. Step or hop back to high plank this time. Take our breath in. That core is working. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, open. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, we're going to inhale that left heel to sky. As we exhale, returning it back to the mat for our downward dog. Inhaling that right side. Exhale, return. So for me, I've got to come down to knees here. So keep that alternating in time with the breath. If, like me, you're taking that downward puppy or tabletop position, you can still do it just inhaling, lengthening one leg out. Exhale, return back to the mat. So we're alternating from that downward dog. Lift through the heel, keep the toes drawn in towards the chest. So we're as long as we can through the backs of the legs. Engage through the fronts of the legs. Taking one more round through each side. Returning to our downward facing dog. And this time we're going to walk our hands back to the feet so that we can ground those heels at the mat. We're in our forward fold at the back of our mat. We'll inhale that half lift. Exhale, folding forwards, taking our gorilla pose. So we're bending the knees as much as we need to here, sliding the palms of the hands under the feet, allowing that head to relax. Taking that hinging of the hips. If we're tight through that lower back, bend the knees a little further. If we're comfortable, we might like to lengthen up the backs of the legs, so lifting up through those hips a little taller. You know, when we're in this position at the back of our mat, our reverse chaturangas are on their way. It wouldn't be 6 a.m. power yoga without them. Let's release these hands from underneath the feet. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse our dive all the way tall. Still adding that back bend on our exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold it forwards. All right, from here, our half lift. Take that lengthening, keeping those shoulders drawn back. As we take hands to mat, walk them forwards into our high plank this time. Getting steady, that core is engaged. A breath in at the top. As we exhale, we're lowering down just as far as comfortable that we can hover to inhale, big press back up. Beautiful. Exhale all the way down. Opening for our back bend this time, taking that up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk those hands back to feet. Grounding into our ragdoll. Inhale, half lift. Into our forward fold, sorry. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, a little further, heart opening here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold it forwards. All right. Triple chaturanga, is it? Or double chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale, hands to mat. We're walking forwards. So 2 of these now. In our plank, so we're going to be on toes and knees. Take that breath in. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, big push up. Exhale again. So nice and steady as we lower. Let's inhale, opening. Exhale, downward dog. Walk these hands back, heels to mat. Half lift, forward fold. Lift tall, use that in-breath, open through the heart. So exhaling, working the glutes, the core, inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Triple chaturanga coming up. Inhale, half lift. Hands to mat, high plank. So I mentioned this one last week. If we're doing these reverse chaturangas, all right, we're taking that breath in at the top, toes or knees. Exhale, lower down. If we can lower on the toes but can't push back up, we can drop to the knees just for that big press up. Then we can lift the knees off the mat. Exhale, lower down. It's just a little progression we can do if we want to build that strength in the chest. We lower the knees, inhale for the push. Lift those knees, exhale for lower. How many have you done? Let's do one more. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale to our back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk these hands back to feet. We're going again. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Rise it. Inhale to lift. Exhale, diving over. This time we're going to take the slowest lowering to chaturanga as we can. So we're taking our half lift, hands to mat, high plank. So either 5 or 10 seconds, I'll let you choose, toes or knees. So we're taking that breath in, exhale, lowering. So either 5 or 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We can lower down at any time if we need to, if it's no longer serving us. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, back bend. Some of you are probably holding out for some child's pose, so let's take those hips back to heels. Some of you, me, who knows. Hips back to heels, lengthening out so we can have those arms relaxed out in front, or maybe down by the sides. We're giving those shoulders and arms a little rest. It's interesting, I used to teach a men's yoga class, and it's always interesting the difference, where if I teach predominantly ladies, it's those reverse chaturangas that really cause a challenge for most. When I do the men's class, it's not so much of a problem, but the hamstrings for the men's class, that's where they get their work. I think I am very much the same as well. Okay, let's walk these hands forwards. Let's come into our tabletop. So inhale, coming up. We'll work our core a little bit more. Let's spread those fingers wide. So we're in our tabletop position. We're going to tuck our toes under and just hover those knees off the mat. From the start, check that flowing breath. We're lengthening through that lower back. So remember that sad puppy dog tail, tucking it under. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of the ladies, when I complain about my hamstrings, probably don't have the same level of trouble as I do. And releasing those knees to the mat. I'm just going to shuffle forward on mine a little to watch my cupboard behind. But we're going to take a little balance. We'll inhale that left leg, right arm nice and long. So we're lengthening through those right fingertips. And either pointing out through the toes, or we can draw those toes in towards the chest, lengthening along the back of the leg. That gaze set to one still point on our mat. So stabilizing through the shoulders and hips. If we center that gaze, if we're still with our gaze, the body will follow. Take a breath in. Exhale, releasing down to the mat, swapping sides. Inhale, left arm long, right leg. One more inhale here. Exhale, releasing to mat. Okay, tucking toes under, downward facing dog. Let's gaze it forwards, bend those knees. Step or hop, feet to front as soft as we can. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's lift tall. This time as we exhale, we'll just dive straight back over. Taking our half lift. Hands to mat, high plank. I'm going to flick my fan on here. So coming back to that high plank position, taking our breath, core engaged. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to open. And downward facing dog. Inhaling that left heel to sky. This time we're going to bend that knee, stepping it through for our crescent lunge. So steadying ourselves. When we're ready, inhaling, these hands lifting up nice and tall, softening through these hips. Option, we can hold this one, or with either those fingertips reaching tall, or we can take our hands to hips. Let's take a breath in at the top. As we exhale, we'll lower that right knee towards the mat as we inhale, coming tall. Exhale, lower, a little bit of leg strengthening this morning. Inhale, tall. Exhale, lower. We'll go 2 more on this side. As we inhale, hands rise up. As we exhale, frame that foot, step it back to plank, taking our flow, so moving through with our own time. From our downward facing dog, inhale that right heel to sky. Bend the knees, step the foot as gentle as we can here. So placing it, getting steady, reaching up nice and tall. Keeping that integrity in the lower back, we can lower through the hips. So opening up that left hip flexor and get steadier here. So option, we can take those hands to hips, take that breath in. Exhale, knee towards the mat, inhale, strong press back up. So check in, we want that front knee tracking over that second toe. You've got to keep your own count from side to side. I never know how many I've done, even as little as 5, I lose count. Once we've done them, inhale, hands rise. Exhale, frame the foot, step it back, high plank. Moving through our vinyasa. Again, this is at our own pace. Settling into our downward dog, a few breaths here. Gaze forwards, bend the knees, step or hop, feet to front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, taking this heart opening this time. Inhale to lift. Exhale, over. Half lift. Step or hop, high plank. Take our flow. This time we'll inhale that left heel to sky. Stepping it through, crescent lunge. Reaching up nice and tall. We'll take our twist this morning. So getting steady. Fix that up. Nice and stable. Take our breath in. As we exhale, we're going to look over this left leg, reaching through the fingertips. So taking that twist, keeping tall through the crown of the head. Inhale back to center. Exhale, open side. Inhale, rise. Exhale, twist. Beautiful. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. We're going to hold here for another breath. Grounding that back foot at 90 degrees. Palms face the floor into our warrior 2. So adjust ourselves if we need to. Maybe widening that stance. Gaze over that front middle finger. Keeping that torso tall. Maybe lowering a little through the hips. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse our warrior. As we exhale, we'll take this left forearm to rest on the thigh, reaching up through that right hand. So we're taking our side angle lunge. If it's more comfortable to the neck, gazing out neutral to the side. Or we can up we can bring it up to that top thumb tip. If we'd like to deepen, we can take that left hand towards the mat or fingertips. If our bird of paradise is part of our usual practice, we're welcome to take that. If we'd like to take a bind, we can take this top hand to the small of the back, maybe just holding that there, or we can interlace those fingers behind the hips, just keeping that chest open. So if we are moving into our bird of paradise from here, you can step that foot forwards, taking our time with our balance there. And keeping this chest open. Whichever option we've taken, we'll make our way back down. If we've taken our bind, releasing out, both hands on the inside of this left foot, ball of our back foot, scoot this left foot all the way out into our lizard lunge. So we'll lower this back knee to the mat. Actually, you've got the option. If you'd like to keep it elevated, you can. We're in this lizard lunge, but whichever option we've taken, easing this torso down, or if we'd like to take our hip flexor stretch. So either releasing through the upper body, lowering down. If we've got props under there, we can use those, towels or pillows or whatever we'd like. Option to take this left hand behind, taking hold of this right foot. So either option, we're into our hip stretching now, so either coming down through our lizard, getting that opening through that inner left thigh, across the hips. Or if we'd like to, a runner's lunge, taking hold of that foot. This is another one of my favorites. As a chronic sitter during the day, hips, the hamstrings and hip flexors, they get very tight through, so I find this one particularly beneficial at the beginning of the day especially. If we've taken hold of this back foot, let's release it back down. So from that lizard lunge, pressing back through the feet, we'll come into our high plank, so tucking toes under, stepping back, or if we're on our knees, staying on our knees, let's take our vinyasa, make it our own. Once we've made our way to our downward dog, let's inhale that right heel, exhale, step it through. Settling into our crescent lunge. Take a breath in. Exhale to twist. So really lengthen through those fingertips, long through the arms. Inhale, rise. Exhale, open side. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, so watch with those fingertips that the shoulders don't come up. We want to keep those down, creating as much length along the arms as we can. One more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reach. Maybe we did one more this side. Exhale, holding this way, grounding through that back foot, palms facing towards the mat. So check that alignment through that front knee. Ooh, tracking over that front heel. Into our warrior two, we're grounding through the outer edge of our left foot here. Flip the palm, inhale, reverse. Exhale, that side angle lunge. Reaching up through those left fingertips. So take our options here. We can lower down those fingertips or that palm. We can take our bind if we'd like to take that left hand. Lower back, maybe interlacing. I've got a microphone there, so that's not going to happen for me today. If you're taking Bird of Paradise, welcome to move through that as well. It might be different from one side to the next. whichever option we've taken. So we're bringing those hands to mat, coming to the ball of our back foot as we scoot that right foot out. Taking our lizard option, our lizard lunge option. So we can either palms, we can lower down to forearms, we can maybe take that right hand behind our reach of that back foot if we're close but no cigar. If we have a tea towel handy, hand towel, anything like that, a t-shirt that we can roll up and use that to take hold, we can. Otherwise keep to that lizard, or keep to that back foot on the floor and just deepening down through the hips. So that's our focus for all of these options, is getting ourselves settled in our posture, scanning through the hips for anywhere that we're holding on, and with a nice soft exhale, easing down through the hips. Should feel a little bit more lengthening or a little bit more range through those hips there. And then making our way out. So either releasing that back foot or pressing our way back up. So we'll come back to our high plank, stepping that right foot back, taking our vinyasa. Coming back to meet into our downward facing dog. From here, walking those hands in a little closer towards each other. We'll gaze forwards, bend the knees, stepping or hopping our feet outside the hands at the front of our mat, taking our yogi squat here. So optional is our crow. So we can either hold here, taking those elbows to the inner thighs, getting this opening stretch through the hips. If we'd like to play with our crow this morning, we can place those hands to the front of the mat or the floor, whatever, what's the word I'm looking for, texture or whatever support feels best. So we're coming into our crow, lifting those knees up, placing them to the backs of the upper arms, and we can play. So our crow can just be about balancing. It can be about introducing the weight into our hands. If we're not confident to take the balance, might just like to take some of the weight. If we've got pillows or blankets, we can place them out in front. We can either, if we're coming into a little further, play with alternating or drawing both those toes towards each other. So I'll let you take your choice there. So crow, unfortunately, another one for my blood pressure, is not one I hold for long. So if we're taking our yogi squat, maybe pressing through those fingertips. So I'm a very big advocate, as we all are with yoga. It's about modifying for your own body. But, it can be sometimes daunting when you go to classes and teachers are doing perfect postures, incredibly flexible, incredibly strong. It can be a little bit tempting to just push yourself to try and get to those spots, but yoga is very much about modifying the practice to yourself. And so, as someone who is experienced in having to modify a lot of my postures, I very strongly encourage modifications, personalizing your practice to suit yourself. And from here, if we're in our crow, we'll release those feet back to the mat. From whichever option we've taken, we'll take these hands back behind us so that we can sit down. I think we're running out of time. Yep. So we'll come into our boat pose. So we're lengthening out through these fingertips, either grounded through the feet or we can elevate them up. Either option, making sure that core is working, opening up through the chest. Taking our breath in. Exhale, gently releasing down to our mat. And let's draw these knees in for a hug. I'm going to scoot along a little further. Oh, take it tight, left and right. Ooh, we haven't done thread the needle. Yes, we got time. So let's lower that left foot to the mat. We'll take our right foot across. So taking our right arm through our space, interlacing those fingers, drawing this left leg in towards the chest. A little bit of a glute stretch before we finish. There's always too much to fit into 1 hour of practice. It seems like a lot of time until you get into it. Sometimes at the beginning of the class I think, okay, how am I going to fill this up? And then time disappears very quickly. Releasing this side. So taking that left foot over our right leg. So interlacing the fingers. It can either be around the knee, the shin, or the hamstring. Check in that that head and shoulders are completely relaxed here. Through the neck is soft. Facial muscles, so as we draw that leg in, notice any tension that creeps into the facial features. And then releasing this side. So final posture before our Shavasana, anything you'd like. Option to take our reclined bound angle. This is always my favorite to finish. Taking the soles of the feet together, opening out through the knees. If we'd like to, if an inversion's part of our regular practice, we're welcome to take that, or anything that we'd like. If we're in our bound angle, we can maybe place one hand to the tummy, one to the chest. Just draw our focus into the breath. Otherwise we can relax hands to sides or up overhead. But this last posture, just making it our own. Whatever your body needs. Whichever posture we've taken, chosen, making our way into our Shavasana, from our Supta Baddha Konasana, drawing those knees together, lengthening out through the limbs, coming into our rest here, our final few minutes, so make ourselves as comfortable as possible. The more comfy we are in the physical body, the easier it is for that mind to rest, and that's what we want to do for these last few moments. We're not thinking about the day ahead or to-do lists or anything like that. We're just seeing if we can feel that let go. Drop those thoughts down through the ground. Enjoy these last few moments of complete rest. to bring that awareness into the breath once again. Noticing the flow of air in and out of the body. Into that rise and fall of the chest. As we wriggle toes, fingers, inhaling arms up, overhead, lengthening out the entire body. Big breath in. And then rolling over to either side. As we bring ourselves up to a seated position, comfortable seated position. Taking our hands to heart center. Sitting nice and tall. Checking in post-practice. I'm just grateful to ourselves for taking time, for making time to come to our mats and to practice this self-care. And just setting the intention to take this mindset of looking after ourselves off of our mats and through the rest of our day. As we bow our heads to our hands, we honour ourselves and each other with Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody.